The views in the following program reflect those of the participants and not necessarily of Rogers or Rogers TV. Hello everyone and welcome to Mommy Talk. Today we're going to be discussing one of the biggest issues parents and moms have after they have children. We're going to talk about sleep. Sometimes it's just so difficult to get sleep after those babies come. So today we have an expert on the show. She's going to help us out. Welcome. This is Jessica White. We have her on the show today, and we also have Brooke McPherson. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Jessica, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your family?
My name's Jessica White, and I have 3 children. I have an 8-year-old girl, Susie, a 10-year-old girl, Charlotte, and a 4-year-old son, Stuart.
Okay. And Brooke, can you tell us a little bit about your family?
Okay, my name is Brooke. I have 3 children as well. I have a girl, Delia, who's 6 years old. Then I have another girl, Theodora, who's 4. And then my last one is a little boy, Eddie, and he's 8 months old.
Oh, adorable.
Yeah.
So Jessica, you are our expert today. You're going to help us out with some sleep problems and tell us a little bit about what you do for families. So can you tell us what you do professionally?
Sure. I work with families who are having sleep issues. I work with babies anywhere from 4 months to the oldest child that I've worked with is 5 years old. I also work with pregnant women who are having sleep issues during pregnancy.
Right, yeah, because I mentioned that we have sleep issues after the babies, but sometimes it's before the babies.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's so important to get that sleep while you're pregnant so that when you are in labor, you have the strength and you have that.
The fire to get that done.
Exactly. And for those first few days after the baby's born, you need to regain your strength. So having that sleep in your bank is really, really important.
Yeah. So how important is sleep when it comes to kids and families? Tell us the importance of sleep.
Well, sleep is really important starting obviously right from pregnancy, but also right from birth, in that it is the main thing that helps with physical and mental neurosensory development. As children get older, sleep is when the body repairs itself. It's when it rids itself of all the toxins that it's accumulated throughout the day. It's when your brain processes your day. It helps with your immune system. So if you don't have enough sleep, then oftentimes you're more likely to get sick. It also is really important for our fat burning system. So so the sleep helps with dealing with your metabolism as well. So, and it's also really important for mental health as well. So if you're not getting enough sleep, it can lead to anxiety and stress.
Yeah, that's a really excellent point, because there's a lot of talk about like the postpartum anxiety and whatnot, and I would assume that the sleep has something to do with that. Like if you're low in sleep, that you might feel a little
absolutely off. Adds to the anxiety and the postpartum. Absolutely. Yeah. And it sort of becomes a double-edged sword, because especially if it's your first baby, you are struggling with all the new things that you're learning about your baby. Plus, you might not be getting enough sleep, and it just sort of feeds itself, that anxiety and that uncertainty of what's going on, what's happening.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And when we come back from the commercial break, we're going to talk to Brooke about her family. She's got some questions for you and needs some help from you. So when we come back, we're going to get more into this topic, and we'll see you back after the break on Mommy Talk. The views in the following program reflect those of the participants and not necessarily of Rogers or Rogers TV. Welcome back to Mommy Talk. So now we're going to talk to Brooke. Brooke, you told us a little bit about your family.
Yes.
Now we want to know a little bit about the sleep issues your family is having. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I've had probably a lot of the same sleep issues as I'm assuming many other families have. My 6-year-old, to start, she wakes up about 3 times a week. So usually with night terrors or having to use the washroom, whatever it is, I just can't get her to stay in her own bed.
Very interrupted.
It's very interrupted sleep. My 4-year-old is about 1 to 2 times a week, same kind of issues. And then of course my 8-month-old is a complete wash. I don't think I get much sleep at all as it stands. So generally I will get him down about 8:30 at night. He'll wake up at 10:30. I can kind of get him back down again for 11. And then from about 12 till 4 in the morning, it's a very restless, sleep awake dance where I'm trying to get him back in his crib. It's not always successful, so.
Right. You've probably experienced a lot of families that go through these problems.
Absolutely, yes. And those are the most common, for your older children, those are the most common sleep issues that families have, is the night terrors, the interrupted sleep, not wanting to go back into bed, wanting to come into bed with parents. If we were sitting down in a consultation, I would ask you a lot of questions about your routine, about your family, each individual's situation. So with your older daughters, what time do they usually go to bed?
Seeing as it's summer, it has gotten a little bit later. Usually about 8:30 is typically when we'll get them down to sleep.
Okay, and they're both in school, so they're not sleeping during the day?
No naps through the
weekends?
day. No naps on the weekend either.
Okay, so school-age children should be getting about 11 hours of sleep a night. So my first recommendation would be an earlier bedtime, and I know it's difficult in the summer. That's what I talk a lot about.
Blackout curtains.
Well,
that's what you gotta get.
Absolutely. When I talk about foundations and I look at the sleep environment, I always look for the room darkness. It should be at about a level 8 if 10 is pitch black. So darkness is absolutely important. Bedtime routine, following the same routine every single night, sends cues to the brain that it's time to sleep and helps your body release melatonin, which is our sleepy hormone. I would suggest an earlier bedtime, and again, I was saying that in the summer it is difficult, especially with activities and stuff, but if you can sort of try and make at least 5 nights a week I recommend between 7 and 7:30 for this age.
That's really early. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I have a 3-year-old daughter as well. And we in the summer it's so hard, we push it to around the 8:30 mark too. That's an interesting
and that
thing.
is the most common reason why children have night terrors, is because they're overtired.
Okay.
So if they're not getting that 11 hours of sleep, what happens with night terrors is that they're actually waking up between a sleep cycle, and they can't get out of the sleep cycle, and they can't slip back into sleep. So it's that in-between stage, and it's really frightening, and it's really frightening as adults or as parents, because there's nothing we can do for them. They can't hear us, they're completely beside themselves, and there's nothing you can do, and you just have to sort of wait it out and make sure that they don't get hurt. But the most common reason behind night terrors is that they're overtired.
Can I ask a question about the timing then? I don't know if you would know exactly this, but what time should they eat dinner then? Because you know how you're not kind of supposed to go to bed with a full tummy? Like, should the dinner time be pushed earlier?
I don't necessarily think that. Food is actually another really important piece of the sleep puzzle.
Is it?
Nutrition is huge. That's also a big area that I get into with all my clients, is I ask a lot about, I actually ask that they provide me with a 24-hour to 48-hour log of their every activity, when the child's eating,
so
what they're eating.
So that's the preparation you do when someone comes for a consultation.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's part of it. That's a very small piece of it, but I like to get an idea of what the schedule of routine food, because certain foods can actually interrupt your sleep.
Yeah, they say not to eat cheese before bed. I don't know.
Really?
That's what I heard. It's
No,
weird.
cheese
but
is actually okay.
Is it okay? Oh, okay.
But
Maybe it's
there's
a wives'
certain
tale.
foods that will cause you to be more gassy and can actually
Right,
cause.
okay.
But there's certain foods that are actually good for sleep. So
Oh, okay.
having a complete protein, so having whole wheat bread or peanut butter, a banana, peanut butter, having a complete protein will help with your blood sugar, which is also something, if you're hungry, can cause you to wake up in the night. So that's also something I look at. If they're too overtired to actually eat dinner,
Right.
then what can actually happen is that they'll wake up because they're hungry. So it's really important to make sure that a child is having the proper nutrition during the day so that their blood sugar levels are maintained throughout the night.
So would you avoid the sugary things later, closer to the
Absolutely.
night,
Yeah.
to the 7:30 mark that
Yeah.
we're discussing? Yeah.
And there's lots of good information out there that talks about pro-sleep foods and anti-sleep foods. It's not my scope of training. Obviously, I'm not a nutritionist, but I can sort of pick
You have
out
an
some
idea of
things,
what works.
and I
Yeah.
can make recommendations to practitioners in our area that would be helpful
Right.
if nutrition is the piece that I see as the issue.
Right.
But it's the overtiredness that is a really big culprit.
Okay.
And especially at this time of year when we're so much more active, right?
Right.
It all sort of feeds into it. So I often tell families that in the summer, if you are busy, try and make at least 2 nights a week where you just come home early, you start dinner time at 5:30, you start that wind down routine, because that can also be the issue if a child has a hard time settling, that they need a really calming bedtime routine, wind down routine, quiet games and activities to get themselves in a place where they're going to fall asleep and stay asleep.
Right.
Okay.
What about the baby then? That would help with the baby as well, the quiet time. But what's going on with the baby?
I would definitely say an earlier bedtime for baby too.
Okay.
At this stage, your baby should still be having 3 naps, transitioning into 2. So
Okay. Because he doesn't even get 3.
Okay, so
He
that's,
doesn't even get 3 hours? Oh, no.
Yeah, so an infant at this age should be having 3 naps a day. At 9 months, they usually drop the 3rd nap. A schedule might look like waking between 6 and 7 a.m. That's a child's actual natural wake time.
Okay.
And I know for a lot of us, we'd like our children to sleep in a little bit later, but,
No, but
with our circadian rhythms and our natural sleep wake cycles, the natural time is between 6 and 7. So
Okay.
using
so
that
if the
as
baby wasn't waking up, should she wake up the baby
No,
at
I
around
wouldn't.
7?
No,
leave
I would.
it, leave it.
I'm not
Okay.
a proponent of waking a sleeping baby if they're still sleeping. But what I am saying is, if the baby wakes up, then the next nap should be between 8:30 and 9 a.m. The next nap should be around between 12 and 1, and then the 3rd nap. The 3rd nap just can be a 20-minute, half an hour nap. The other thing is that I'm a big proponent of naps being done in the crib, because after 3 months, a baby needs a quiet, non-moving space for sleep to get a
Okay.
full, restful sleep.
Yeah. Brooke, is this something that you do in your home? Like, tell us about your routine.
It's really challenging, I would say, to try to get my baby into a crib for those types of naps. I mean, I certainly try to aim for at least one in the crib during the day. But with a 4-year-old that's still home with me, often, we're going to different activities for her, and we've got gymnastics or swimming or whatever is on the schedule.
It's such a challenge.
So, often he's falling asleep in the bucket seat on our way to activity A or B, and then, it's never long enough. It's maybe half an hour or 45 minutes, and then he's very disrupted.
Yeah. And oftentimes that overtiredness will actually feed into the rest of the day being off.
Okay.
Because if they're overtired to begin with, then it's really a lot harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. So the whole phrase sleep begets sleep, the more sleep you have in your bank, the easier it is to fall asleep and stay asleep for longer periods of time for the naps. And then at nighttime to be able to sleep right through the night.
Yeah.
So then the recommendation would maybe be to try to slow down the daytime lifestyle.
I
so
would,
that
and
you
I know
are at home to have those naps.
Definitely the first nap. I know what I found when my children were younger, most frustrating about the activities that are planned for children is that it's always in my opinion, during nap
Yeah.
times.
I know, it always ends up being during nap time.
Yes.
Like every time someone asks me to do something, they're like 1 o'clock, and I'm like, that's when he's
Yeah,
sleeping.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I feel like there should be some sort of shake up in the community about, okay, try and schedule activities for this age group at this time and this age group at this time. Because a 3-year-old should still be napping in the afternoon as well. So
Really? A 3-year-old should be
my
napping?
4-year-old still naps.
Oh, no way. 'Cause
Not every day,
Yeah.
but again, let me back up. It depends. It
I
depends on
still
the
need a
child.
nap.
Between 3 and 4 is when they lose that
Yeah.
last nap, and I find that the most helpful thing is that when they're starting to lose that nap is they 1 or 2 days they nap, then they won't nap for a couple days,
Right.
and then they'll have a
Maybe
nap
on the
again when they
weekends, they'll
need
be
it.
a little more, yeah.
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 But I would say the morning nap for sure, try and have at home, because the first nap is often the easiest one to settle because their melatonin and their sleep drive is still strong.
Okay.
And the other important thing I find is wake time. My most common advice to my families is that they're letting their babies stay awake for too long. And so you pass that point of no return, or you pass that window of opportunity when the body is most able to fall back into sleep.
So since the baby's having the biggest trouble, how long does he normally stay awake for in between? And can you give her a pointer on how long he should be awake in between?
In between his daytime
Yeah.
naps. So yeah, in the daytime, if I get him down in the morning, it's 10:30, and then he won't fall asleep again until about 3 in the afternoon.
Right,
Is
yeah.
kind of loosely
so-
what it looks like right now.
Yeah.
So I would say that right now I would work with a 2-hour wake window for his first nap.
Okay.
So if he's up at 6, then he's looking to go back down again around 8.
Okay.
And I know if you're trying to get children off to school,
It's very
that
challenging.
can be very
It's
challenging.
really
Yeah.
challenging, yeah.
So another thing what I try and recommend is that if you are trying to put something in place, it's all about consistency. And so there's so many different ways to approach sleep issues, and we've all gone on the internet and seen a million different ways of sleep training, which I'm not a fan of that word, but I like to use sleep shaping or just working with sleep foundations.
Right. Yeah, let's touch on that. We have a little bit of time left. Let's talk about foundations and cycles.
So sleep foundations are things like your sleep environment. So is it dark? Is it the right temperature? How many things like the media or the consumer culture right now is like, let's put everything we can in our baby's bedrooms, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
mobiles, pictures. And I find simple, calm is what you want. You want the bedroom environment to be really, really sleep-inducing, not stimulating. So take out the toys, the mobiles, all the things that are in the crib.
Ah, good point. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the first one. The other big one is respecting and prioritizing sleep. So you want to role model sleep for your family, the importance of sleep, the importance of everyone getting the sleep that what's recommended for their age. The other things would be, how are the kids doing? Like, are the kids struggling in school right now? Are they having social issues? That stuff needs to be addressed. You need to really talk about that with your
Right.
children, because that will affect their sleep.
Right.
If you're both parents are working,
Yeah.
and the children don't get time to spend with their parents, oftentimes that will lead in really challenging bedtimes
Right.
behavior, because the children naturally want to spend time with their parents.
Yeah.
So they're going to do whatever they can to
Yeah.
have that connection with them. So
Yeah.
be mindful of making time to connect with your child
Right.
during the day.
Okay. Yeah, and you said being a role model for sleep too. Like if the parent is taking care of themselves, getting enough sleep themselves, then it will pass on to the children.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think adult sleep is as much of an issue right
Is it?
now as children sleep. Yeah, I'm actually studying to become an adult
Do
sleep
you
coach
treat
right now
adults too, or just children?
Well, I'm just studying. I'm just finishing my certification right now.
Great,
So I'm
okay.
hoping in the fall that I'll be open for business to help with adult sleep coaching.
Great, great. That's awesome. Is there anything else you can tell us about your profession here before we sign off?
Just that I really look at sleep as an individual thing, that every family is different. Every family has different sleep needs, a parenting philosophy with their work and their life balance. So my approach is to speak with the family, get as much information as I can from them, and then put a plan into place that respects what they need and what their goals are. So every single sleep plan that I do is personalized, individualized for that particular family.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing your knowledge with us. I
You're
really
welcome.
hope that, Brooke, you found some pointers that
I
you can
did.
help
Thank
with.
you.
You're welcome.
And when we come back, we're going to go into the community and we're going to find something fun to do. We're going to visit Crocodoodle. So we'll see you when we get back on Mommy Talk. The views in the following program reflect those of the participants and not necessarily of Rogers or Rogers TV. Welcome back to Mommy Talk. One of the things we like to do is take our kids out into the community and find fun places to take our families and have a good time together. So today we went to Crocodoodle at Blue Mountain. Let's take a look at some of the pictures. We took Esri here and you can see there's a table and they have it set up where there's tons of paint. They have a paint palette there you can pick from. It's a really cool place to go. They have tons of options. And one of the cool things they like to call it is fun art, not fine art. It's kind of a catchphrase that they like to use. There's Esri. She's going to start her shark. She picked a shark. And it's all pottery. And so you go and you pick your pottery, your piece of pottery, and then you start to paint it. And this is Courtney. She's the owner. Lovely girl. We had a great time with her. They are open every day, even Christmas. They are really suitable for every age group. They have affordable prices and tons of pottery to pick from. There's so much there you can see in the pictures. There's some funny pictures coming up that we're going to look at. They even have like a hamburger you can paint and a hot dog. It's really funny, to tell you the truth. And so the cool thing about them is that the art is ready the next day after 4 p.m. So it's the fastest turnaround time after they've kilned the pottery. There's the hamburger. It's pretty cool. I think it's actually a piggy bank. But anyway, what they do then after you paint is they fire the pottery at 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty interesting fact. So it's a really fun place to go. It's located right in the Blue Mountain Village, picturesque spot. Oh, there's the mug we made for Esri's dad for Father's Day. That's actually her little brother's footprint. And then her handprint is off on the side. She's having a great time there painting her pottery. So I highly recommend it. Get up to Crockadoodle. There's all the colors that they offer on the screen there. It's a really fun place to go. Thank you so much, Jessica, for being on the show and sharing your knowledge with us. And thank you, Brooke, for sharing about your family and joining us on the show.
Yes, it was very helpful.
Remember to find us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you again next time on Mommy Talk.